Hello friends! We did a live stream the other night. We've had so many problems, as many of you know, regarding live streams, and this one actually went fairly smoothly, but the recording came out messed up, so that's why we're doing this. And Imabel, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I hope you guys are doing great. And let me just say thank you to everyone who joined us on that live stream that he was referring to, but didn't record right. Am I right?
Yes, and we actually just finished up our first theme week ever on this channel. Out of the 7 years that I've been doing this channel, it was Catholic Week, in honor, I guess, or because of the Pope's visit to the Philippines, which was quite an ordeal. He's gone now, he's back to Rome and doing whatever popes do, but it was our first theme week, Catholic Week. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people didn't care either way, but that's okay because we're always trying different things like scientists, doing experiments, and you know, I plan in the future I'm going to do things that have been working, which namely is mainly dating videos. I don't want this to become a dating channel, but I notice anytime I post things about dating, those get tons of hits, tons of interaction. People really respond well to that. But I'm going to be trying all kinds of things, and the things that work, I'm going to do more of. The things that don't work, I'm going to throw it out and not focus on. Just take it as a learning experience. But it was Catholic themed week, and I plan on doing another theme week in the future. This one's about, it's going to be Crimes and Scams Week on the Travis Craft channel. And that's going to be exactly what it sounds like. We're going to be talking about different types of crimes, different types of scams, just general things to help keep you guys safe. So I think that will be very valuable. And the Pope was here. What did you think? From your perspective, your personal perspective, not speaking for other Filipinos, what do you think of the Pope and his visit?
Definitely. I'm not going to speak for other Filipinos. From the very beginning, I have been open in sharing with Travis. I was saying that I really hope and pray that Filipinos look forward to the message that is going to be brought or conveyed by the Pope to the Filipino people when he would visit. And that already happened a few days ago. But seeing the reaction from many Filipinos, it was like they were looking forward to meet, to see a celebrity, an idol, which I'm not okay with. I mean, that's their personal preference, that's their choice, but I think what's more important is the message that he brings as a messenger of God, and that's it.
Well, for me, the whole thing was very strange because I've never seen I've spent so much time in the Philippines, but I've never been in the Philippines at a time when a Pope visited. And to me it was weird because they did make him out to almost be this godlike figure, and like, you know, that he is like a god, or at least that he's chosen directly by God or somehow closer to God than other people. And I find that strange. It's interesting that they would have that kind of reaction. I think it's a little bit scary in a lot of ways. And people during this week, I haven't really criticized religion so much, maybe a little here and there. We had that one video where we were talking about the church blasting music from 3 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. because they start Mass at 4:30 a.m. And I talked about that. I said that was annoying and that was out of line. And before that I had a video asking people, do you want me to show you the truth? Do you want me to tell you the truth? And people said yes, and that's part of it. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with what we did, talking about that and showing that to people, because it's a very real thing. But the other thing is, some people kind of got on us and said, well, they're out of line. That's the culture there, and they shouldn't mess with it. First of all, it's not the culture of the Philippines. It's what that one church does. Some churches do it, many don't do it. It's not culture. Second of all, there's a lot of people in this neighborhood that don't like it either, but they won't speak up because the church, in general, the Catholic Church has a stranglehold over this whole country. There's not really separation of church and state here. Even President Aquino, I had a video where he talked about how he criticized some people in the church here, and then people got angry at the president. But speaking out against these people or a particular church, in their minds, a lot of people, they think you're speaking out against God. No, you're speaking out against guys. You're speaking out against human beings. That's all these people are. Am I off base here? But we made a polite request to that church to turn their music down, and I don't think that it was an unreasonable request, and there's nothing wrong with politely making a request and trying to get someone to see our side of it, and that's all we did. And it didn't work, but I think that's maybe because we didn't get to talk to the right person. That could have been it. If you saw the video, we only got to talk to that lady. We didn't get to talk to the priest. But, sometimes when you make polite requests, even if they're reasonable, sometimes it works beautifully, sometimes it doesn't work. That's life.
Well, in addition to that, I remember seeing a comment on that video saying that as a Filipina, I should know it better, then I should not keep the real culture of the Philippines from you. First of all, I have nothing to hide in terms of Filipino culture because Travis is so well immersed in the culture. Another thing is, as a Filipina, as a sane Filipina, as a sane and educated Filipina, I really believe there's nothing wrong with, just like what he already said, with politely and humbly requesting the church, whoever was concerned, to turn down the volume, to turn down that loud music that they were blasting at 3 a.m. And my point was really made clear because I know that many people also agreed with me that if you really want to go to church, you don't have to be awakened by the music that's being blasted by the church. You can simply use your alarm clock because there's a Filipino saying, pag may gusto, may paraan. If you really want it, there's a way. Pag ayaw, may dahilan. If you don't really want it, you always have a reason. So you're gonna find a way for that. And also, I remember, because that comment mentioned that he actually said that comment or wrote that comment after talking to his Filipino wife. I guess there are just also differences.
I think she's a Swangali.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, I guess look it up.
Okay. What I was going to say
not a
is,
Filipino
I guess
term.
that just shows that among Filipinos, there are also differences, not only in culture, but in their beliefs. And so I respect that. But I guess many of you would agree with me that you wouldn't want to be disrupted in your sleep every day for 9 straight days, right? Would it be healthy for you? Well, I would say it's not, right? And before you move on, just in addition to what we have been talking about, the papal visit or the visit of the Pope, I have to really reiterate that, is I even remember seeing a post of GMA on Facebook saying, it was an article saying the Pope telling the priests, Filipino priests, to focus on Jesus, not him. So that just shows how many Filipinos were more focused on him than on God.
Well, something that I thought was interesting, these people that said it's the culture and you shouldn't speak out against it. It makes sense to some extent that people from other countries shouldn't go to another country and then criticize their local culture. To some extent, I would agree with that. However, there's things within a culture, and I said that speaking out against that particular church, it's not speaking out against the culture of the country. It's not speaking out against God. It's just speaking out against those knuckleheads blasting music. But something that is part of the culture here, the other night I was leaving the gym, going up the stairs at the MRT, and I see, this is during the post, is that there's a girl that looks like she's about 4 years old, sitting there on the steps, all dirty, begging for coins, begging for food. And this is a culture where it's common to see abandoned children running around all over the streets. Now, if that's culture, I think that culture sucks. And the Philippines, they like to say, it's a great Catholic nation, everyone's a good Christian person there. Well, why do we see all these children all over the streets? Why do we have people like this church blasting music, being inconsiderate for people around them? Is that being a good Christian? It shows that it's a facade. I've always said, and this is not to be controversial or anything, But I've always said that aspect of the Philippines that, oh, they're good Catholics, I always said that's what they want outsiders to think. You go to the Philippines, it's quite wild compared to the United States. I know that if you watch if you've never been to the United States, but you watch American TV, shows like Friends, Married with Children, Modern Family, whatever these shows are that are currently popular, you would get the impression that the United States is a wild place and everyone's extremely promiscuous and there's no emphasis on morality. It's actually quite the opposite of what they show you on TV. Most people, especially throughout the middle of the country, are very conservative and they don't live lives like you see those fictional characters on the TV show Friends living. For one thing, they live in New York City, an expensive place. None of them really seem to work much, especially the actor, Joey. He doesn't even seem to have a side job. And they just have sex all the time, and they never have a shortage of money, really, at least not a serious shortage. They don't really have serious problems in their life. It's just a fictional TV show. But people from other countries might see that and they think that that's how the average American is. And vice versa, you watch Filipino TV, though this is changing, Filipino TV by American standards is highly censored, generally. Although, like the past few years, they've sure gotten a lot more risque, especially with the type of subject matters they're showing. It seems like most of the shows are about people having affairs on their wife or their husband, boxers that are gay with AIDS. I think that was a TV show recently. Transgenders, dating men. Seems that the direction it's going, Filipino TV is becoming all about that type of subject matter, which in many ways is would be risque by even American standards. But I feel that the average American, especially if you're in the middle of the country, is very conservative, and the average Filipino is not that conservative. As I talked about it a little bit in that video where I'm in the church, they have different philosophies when it comes to their religion. America's a religious place, the Philippines is a religious place, but they're really different religions. A Catholic from the United States would be very different generally than a Catholic from the Philippines and come at things from different angles. Here, a lot of the philosophy is kind of, it seems people will do what they want as long as they're loving to God. They think that all is forgiven and everything's okay. In America, they have that strong emphasis on morality, and you have to behave a certain way. So it's very different in that regards. But I always said if it was that conservative, you wouldn't have so many men wanting to take vacations here.
Well, in fairness to Filipinos, because I'm Filipina, I would say yes, Filipinos or Filipino Catholics or Christians, they focus on loving God. But personally, to love God, to show love to God is also to obey God. So there's a conflict on that.
My philosophy is, man, it's all relative. And one thing I don't like is, and I think most Americans, even a lot of religious Americans will agree with this, you don't want religion forced on you. And like what that church is doing, they're forcing their nonsense on me. I'm not part of their church. There's a lot of people in this neighborhood that aren't part of that church. Even if they're Catholic, they don't belong to that particular church. They don't want things forced on them. But in America, that's a big thing. Don't force your religion on other people. Although one thing I've noticed from a lot of, at least online conversations, people really want freedom of religion in the United States, unless it's another religion from the religion that you belong to. Then it's like, if an atheist tells them something like, hey man, don't tell me your beliefs, or if a Protestant tells a Catholic something like, hey man, no, it seems like people want freedom of religion, but as long as everyone's whatever religion you are. So
well, that's a good observation.
we generally don't talk about religion or politics here. We sometimes bend the rules. And this past week, we mostly tried to take a look at religion from the standpoint of a cultural standpoint, kind of like when we did other videos about Islam or Buddhism, that kind of things. We're not trying to convert people to one way of thinking or one religion. But one thing that I'd like to point out, someone sent me an email, and they were concerned, I guess, that people would hate me or get angry, and some people did get angry at me. Sometimes you put something into the world after you create it, people interpret it their own way, and it's usually a very misinterpretation of what you're trying to do. And people are like, oh, don't mock the Pope, which I really wasn't. The way I feel about the Pope, to be honest with you, is he's probably a good dude, and if he's someone that speaks and inspires you guys to be better in some way, I'm all for that. But do I believe he's God or somehow closer to God than me, than you, than her? No way. But anyways, someone said, I don't want Filipinos to hate you because your audience is the masa, meaning the masses, which is generally refers to lower class people, right? Is that correct?
Like the more the common,
But generally, more like the Vice Ganda's audience, something like that, people that watch those ABS shows. And that's not who my audience is. My audience, I'm not going to judge people for their beliefs or their religion, but my audience is people that want to evolve and want to grow, because that's what I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. I think that you and I both are trying to always evolve and get better and further ourselves, and I hope that we can help the audience on their journey of trying to do the same. And you said something very interesting about how that's not our audience, because why would we want to appeal to closed-minded people?
Exactly. We make videos to simply inform, inspire, and entertain people. And it's natural, it's already expected that you'd get different kinds of comments, different kinds of feedback, and that would include negative feedback and just from haters. So, they're not really the people we're catering to. So we just keep making videos. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just let me know if I have a chance to share them, the people who have been supporting us in this pursuit of keeping videos, and for them.
Yes, and
keep making videos.
And I'd like to say that if you're worried as a creator or as an artist about offending people, well, the stuff that you're going to create is going to be very boring, very bland. I had that video where I'm in the church, was a very neutral, objective look at American Catholicism compared to Filipino Catholicism, but it didn't really get a lot of interaction, didn't get a ton of hits either. I think it's not something that provoked a passion in people, but maybe that's because it was so neutral. And if you're worried about offending people as a creator, you're not gonna make interesting content. So as I progress and evolve this channel, I'm gonna maybe get a little bit edgier, not with the intention that I want to offend people, but I'm not gonna worry about it so much. Two of my most successful videos right now are why Filipino girls like white men, and I get a lot of hatred over that video, which I don't know why. If you actually think about the video with a brain, there's nothing bad in it, and why you should not move to the Philippines. I get a lot of hate, but I also get a lot of love over both those videos, especially over why you should not move to the Philippines. I get a lot of love from Filipinos and non-Filipinos over that video, but some people, they'll try and threaten you and things like that. But it was just Martin Luther King Day in the United States. Did you know that?
Yes.
You did know that?
Yes.
The only reason I know it because I saw it online. I'm so out of touch. But
well, I saw posts on the U.S. Embassy page.
Okay. Well, you know what there's something about Martin Luther King. If you look at his life, he did a lot of things. He angered a lot of people. He offended a lot of people. There were people around him, even people that cared about him, that said, look, I don't think you should say certain things. I don't think you should do certain things. But you know what? Now he has his own holiday. He has a statue. He has statues dedicated to him around the United States. Those people that were trying to keep him from doing things, saying things, doing things, creating really, those are people that aren't even remembered. So even look at Jesus Christ. That was a guy that offended a lot of people. He offended so many people so much, they had to have him killed. So those guys weren't guys that had attitudes, oh, I gotta keep my opinions or my beliefs to myself. They were trying to help people, and they know that's the risk you take when trying to put yourself out there and help people. You're going to get hatred to it, maybe to the point of even death.
Whatever you do,
which hopefully that doesn't happen.
Whatever you do, there will always be people who would not like it or agree with you. So what I always keep in mind is despite the differences, despite, opposite, differences and just negative reactions or whatever, we agree to disagree. But if you really
agree to disagree.
You agree to disagree, right? And in terms of negative comments, if you think they're not really going to help you, you just ignore them. Because this is what I learned from you based on your experience, that if you really reply to them or react to them, they will just attack you more, and
I'm not going to give them the
it will
time.
just make them, it will make them happier, and it doesn't really
they
make
want
the point.
attention.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to spend time getting back to people, it's going to be the people that say really nice things to me. But one of the things that someone brought up about our video, they said, "Oh, you guys are talking loud in the halls, waking people up." Well, first of all, they would have already been woken up because of the church, and our talking in the hallway wouldn't be as loud as the music coming into their place through their window. But second of all, one reason why it might appear that way, in a way, that we're being loud, is because, guys, I'm a video maker. I've been doing this a long time. That's even what my degree is in. Whenever I make videos where I'm talking, I'm always aware where the microphone is. I'm aware where the camera is. And I make sure to put the camera or the microphone in a place that's going to be closer to us, to make sure to pick us up so you guys can hear us well. Even now, like, I try and put the mic, we're not using an external mic. We have the camera, the built-in mic right there. I want it as close to us as possible, even though the shot might look a little bit bare. I could have plugged in an external mic, but I didn't want to I want to get this out to you guys real quick. And this isn't about doing anything fancy. It's kind of a substitute for those live streams that aren't working. I actually got some new equipment that I want to show you guys coming up, and for you guys that are video makers, hopefully it helps you. But we were very fortunate enough, we got to meet with one of our patrons, because we have a Patreon campaign. The link is in the description, patreon.com.
/craft.
Yes, patreon.com/craft. But we met with one of our patrons, and he's been supporting us from the beginning. And who do we meet with? Okay, yes, we met with Chris. He's been awesome all this time, supporting this, helping bring these videos to you guys. But he also we met him for a lovely dinner, him and his fiance, and he brought us something important to me. Dun, da, da. It's an external hard drive, which I've really needed. In our robbery, that guy stole all my gear, even my external hard drive. And with this new computer, I've been producing so much video content that it's full. And every time I want to put video on, I have to go through the old videos and see what I can live with, what footage I can live with deleting. So, but now I'm looking forward to cleaning up my hard drive. It'll make it easier for me to produce more content for you guys. One of the big differences between the Philippines and the United States, and I've talked about this before, is things like this, little things like this, they can be expensive in the Philippines. Electronic stuff, things that are brought into the country, there's high taxes on, and it's just super expensive. And also there's no Amazon like in the United States. Something like this you can find fairly cheap off of Amazon, and I really appreciate that he brought this, and I appreciate the support. And we do have this crowdfunding campaign. I've talked about it, but you got to keep talking about it, so bear with me. Why don't you go ahead and...
Thank you to our dear Patreon family. Yay! There you go.
It's important to support our content like this, because this is a smaller niche channel, and if you don't... Channels like this, they can't profit the way others can off of YouTube. I know there's those little ads at the bottom or to the side or before the video. People say, hey, you make money off of that. But the reality is, unless you're getting hundreds of thousands or really millions of views on your videos, you're not really going to make anything, especially if you're getting views from outside the United States, like places like the Philippines. Those are almost worth nothing, those views. So, to support what we do and keep the lights on, literally, and help cover our expenses when we go out and shoot things, this is important, and I really want to thank all these people. Even if you're not supporting currently, still give these people a big thank you, because it's so important to what we do. And it comes down to, do you really want only the most mainstream stuff? Do you only want to see Jenna Marbles? Do you only want to see top 10 countdown videos? And I was thinking about Freddie Wong the other day, and Freddie Wong, at least a couple years ago, it seemed like he was the biggest thing on YouTube. He is at least one of the biggest things. And I really admire Freddie because I think he took this new media, this new platform, and brought it to a higher level, brought it to the next level. And I admired him for that, and I followed him and wanted to watch his videos just to see where he was taking things. But because I'm not in his demographic, which is mainly like teenagers, more like kids, because kids that play video games, and because I'm an adult man that maybe knows more about the world outside of video games, the types of content that he was doing, after a while I found it unwatchable. And that's not to criticize him, it's good content. I'm just outside the demographic for it. And I know a lot of the people that watch this channel, they're not people that would fit into those type of demographics either. They're people that, there should be something different for them. For instance, I have a little bit older audience, I think, than a lot of other YouTubers, but I think that's also a good thing in many ways, because those are people that are a bit more mature mentally and more thoughtful by the time they've reached a certain age, and they want content that reflects that. So I'm very happy to have the audience I have. This channel's went, especially in the past couple of years, has went so much in a niche one that you kind of pigeonhole yourself. But thank you guys so much for supporting us on Patreon, because it's really so important. Otherwise, you're only going to have to be watching top 10 videos about video games, and I don't know about you guys, but that stuff just doesn't appeal to me at this spot where I am in my life. So we've been meeting with some of the patrons, actually. Kyle, we just met with him. He's from Illinois. And whenever these guys come to the Philippines, they're pretty much all in the United States and the United Kingdom, maybe Australia too, I think. I'd have to look at all the demographics, mostly the United States, but I don't know if there's anyone that's in the Philippines that's one of our patrons right now. But when they come in from whatever country they come from, we meet up with them and get to know them a little bit and have a good time. And what are your thoughts, Imabel? This video
I'm just happy showing the names of our Patreon family members, because I really am thankful to all of them and to all of you who would like to be part of our Patreon family.
And there's some talk, because I'll do a video coming up about how much do YouTube people make, more about how much do they not make. And I've noticed that even a lot of the biggest people on YouTube, they have like Patreon campaigns. People that have like 1 million subscribers will have a Patreon campaign. And the way that people really make money, even the big time ones that have like millions of followers, it's not so much off those little ads that you see. If you notice, a lot of them are selling things. They have something to sell you. And me, unfortunately, I haven't found a way to monetize my audience. I don't sell anything. Really, I just want to be a creator and put good information out there for people and good entertainment. And also, like, it'd be hard for me to sell things at this point, at least t-shirts and stuff, because I can't ship them internationally and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit harder for me. That's why this is even more important for me. And thank you guys. And the video is starting to run a little bit long. Would you like to add anything?
Well, thank you.
About anything.
About anything? Okay, I should not forget this. I should have already done it, but I haven't started it. I will be starting my YouTube channel, wherein I'll be able to share my thoughts with you. Personal thoughts, I guess. I was already doing radio. I hosted a radio show a few years ago, but I couldn't keep doing it because I had to be in the radio station to do it live. So it's a great idea to continue doing the same thing. The only difference is it'll be on YouTube. And if you have any suggestions on what I could do for my YouTube channel, feel free to share that with us. I already have some ideas on what to do on the YouTube channel that I'll be having for you guys. So just leave a comment and it'll be fun. What else?
I forgot to mention that a lot of people say, well, why don't you let her talk more? She's the sidekick. This is the Travis Kraft channel. But if you like her, even if you like her if you like her better than you like me, more than you like me, that's okay.
It doesn't have to be like that.
But this is my channel. We'll be starting her channel, and that's going to be, she'll have free reign over. She won't have to just be there to support me as the sidekick. You know, instead of being like the backup guitar player, she's becoming the lead singer of her channel. So whatever she wants to do on that, that's fine. And
originally, I just wanted to record my voice and have it like an audio thing, but we'll see, because he has been really telling me that it should be with me on it, like video. So hopefully things will go well. And
yeah, as talking about equipment, I'll be showing you guys some new stuff. These cameras, we still don't own video cameras. We're supposed to return these, actually. We were supposed to return it the other day, but it was a non-working holiday. Hopefully they just give us the cameras by now, but they've been very generous letting us use cameras for like exactly a year now. And right now we're using the Canon Vixia Mini. I love this camera. It's the camera I use the most. And then we also have the main camera, which is the, I'll show it here.
there.
We have this baby, which is so important too, because it has, I can plug in an external mic here, and also it has a zoom on it. This Vixia Mini is mainly for our vlogging camera. That's what it's designed to do, and it's awesome at that. Someone's loud out there with their motorcycle.
That's how it is here.
Hopefully we keep having access to these cameras, and we got lots of good stuff planned for you guys coming up. So thank you so much. See ya.